A lot of people say, AI is awesome, so I want to find a way for AI to help my business. No, that's a wrong way of doing things. You should look, here's my business, here's the value. Where can AI help my business and where it won't?
Welcome to the Imagine AI Live podcast. I'm your host, Chris Madden, and today we have with us Hussein Hallak. Hussein, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, my friend. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. It's very early in the morning today. For those who can't see, I've got quite the morning hair going on, but that's okay. First of all, I'd like to announce that we have our Imagine AI Live 25. Tickets are on sale May 28th to the 30th this year. We're going back to the Fontainebleau Hotel in Las Vegas for the first year was epic. This year is going to be even more so. So please check that out and mark your calendars, and we hope to see you there. But Hussein, back to you. So please tell our audience a little bit about what you're building first.
Thank you for asking. And I don't suffer from what is it? You said morning head hair?
Bedhead.
Bedhead, because I don't have any hair. So that's my secret.
That's probably in my future too, but unless AI can save me there too, but we'll see.
Hopefully. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I built several companies in my life, mainly because I get curious about a certain item. Let's say I've always been fascinated with art, culture, and technology and science. And as someone who studied engineering, but wanted to do something, and I didn't know that I could do business or what an entrepreneur was. I just wanted to pay myself through university. And I started working, and I started as a designer, but then that grew into building several companies. And the company I run right now is a digital innovation company that builds certain application for ourselves. So it's kind of a startups. So we run several applications that are focused on the kind of intersection between AI, art, and culture, in the intention of bringing people together. And also we act as a digital innovation partner for companies around the world, where we partner with them and we turn around their business within a year or two. I bring all of the experience of my team that from branding and advertising and business management operations, along with digital innovation and technology skills. And we turn around those businesses, completely rebuild them, set up their operations. And of course, AI is a big enabler in that.
Could we go to a specific example of a business that you've helped turn around?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the cases that we're working on right now is a brilliant business out of Dubai, UAE, and they do pop culture. So it's my love for anime and comics and stuff, and that culture aspect and art aspect comes into play. And they're a brilliant set of entrepreneurs that are building a business. But the challenge is there's so many things to do in a business. So we came in and we're looking at areas where we can change their systems to enable it with AI so that we make them more efficient, more effective at doing their work. Because there's a ton of things to do in any business, sometimes as an entrepreneur, you're wearing a different hat and something else is not being taken care of. So having a system in place and taking the things that you've done that works, turn it into a process, and then using AI to automate gives the entrepreneur far more time for themselves. So we started already. The way we approach it is first we define what are the bottlenecks, and then we develop applications and software to help solve those. Not all the time. Sometimes it's simple. We basically take stuff off the shelf because the idea is to be fast, efficient, and effective. And then we help them. We use that foundation to grow the business and help them dominate their market. So right now, the brand aspect has been changed. We're looking into how we redefine the customers to work with them. And then we're looking at what products can they put out there. And then hopefully that will grow. And we're already seeing a lot of kind of change. We already kind of 2x'd their revenue that they get from online business within 1 month. So we're able to do that, not because we're special. I mean, we do bring a lot of experience, but it's sometimes seeing something from outside the business and implementing simple solutions to change how the business is being run really increases the effectivity and efficiency of a business.
So you're like a SWAT team for businesses.
I love that. I'm going to steal that. That's a great metaphor, actually. Yes, we are. We are for the really, really tough tasks, and we don't back down. I remember you reminded me of the series SWAT. It was actually really well done. So yeah.
As the SWAT team, you go in there, maybe you can talk about the recent example of the business you helped. What was the bottleneck you saw, and how did you use AI to help them solve that bottleneck?
So the first thing is that they have a ton of products that they have different descriptions for, and there is no unification and no connection with their audience. As you know, AI is great at, generating a lot of text. But you can't use it for the creative aspect, in my opinion. It can come up with certain things, but you have to control the tone of the brand. But what you need, once you have the tone of the brand right, and once you have, let's say, that nailed down, like how does the brand need to communicate? What are the certain elements? Then you can use AI to do it at mass, for example. So what we do is we take AIs off the shelf. For example, OpenAI, we use ChatGPT. They have the new projects feature. We train it based on a certain, let's say, direction in regards to tone of voice, in regards to how we wanted the kind of structure of the content, how it's written. So that allows us to, let's say, when we're dealing with 1,000 items or 500 items, it's a lot to ask a team to write it. It will take forever. So what you can ask ChatGPT to write all of those, you review them really fast, you test them, and you test what works, and then you tweak along the way. So it's a combination. We never believe AI can completely replace that, because you need to have that human tone, that connection, and your audience. Like ChatGPT will never know your audience because they meet them in events. So we listen to them. What are the tone of voice, how the customers respond, and then we use that to scale what they've done, let's say, with one or two of those works, and we test rigorously. So that's how AI, for example, enables us to do something that may require a week or 2 weeks of work in 1 or 2 days.
Wow. And so if they doubled their revenue, in a month with working from you, I mean, what is that? That's like online sales, that they're being able to connect with their customers more efficiently and more at mass and with better messaging.
Yeah, I mean, you're running, let's say, the AI conference that you're running. You probably know that sometimes how the content on your landing page, sometimes the software that you use for landing page can be a change of software, can make you more efficient. Let's say it offers you certain tickets and it does the ticketing for you. When you want to do certain things like that, you have to have done several things in the past. So we ran several events in the past. We've done several rebrandings. We've done operations I built myself 22 companies. So when you've done as much that work, you can look at something and say, okay, we'll change these 3, 4, 5 things. And we know what to test or which software to rely on. And that can completely shift, let's say, the efficiency. So for example, instead of the ticketing aspect being something that takes, let's say, 5 hours of time, let's say from the entrepreneur's time, it now takes 5 minutes or 50 minutes. It has nothing to do with AI, for example. That's an example of using the right software. But sometimes when you're in it, you can't realize that this is something you can change. In fact, you are averse to change because changing something might be, you don't know if you're used to it. You stay with the thing that you're used to, rather than taking something new because it's something new to learn.
So you're a connoisseur of software and the possibilities of software out there and the tools that companies and businesses can use. Because so much of this it's online facing. Like that's how you connect with your customer, is through your web page. It's through your social media pages. It's through maybe outbound marketing that you're doing. And from the software perspective, how do you stay up to date on all of the possibilities out there of what to use? And how do you stay cutting edge here?
One of the things I think that distinguishes us is that we never rely on the things we know only. So every project is an opportunity for us to learn. Instead of coming in and saying, we know what you need to do, instead of like, let's think of every client or every partner. We think of our clients as partners because we actually work with them. Our minimum engagement is around 6 months to a year.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And usually it stays sometimes for 3 years because it's a turnaround. You're turning the business around. You can't do it in like a couple of months. And we're not an agency. We're more of a partner of, let's say, of choice, that we come in and we change different aspects of the business. So we become very intimate with their financials, with even the challenges they have. Sometimes some businesses have challenges between the founders. We sometimes sit on the board. So we have to have a very unique set of skills that come together. And the way we do it is every time there's a new opportunity, we actually approach it as a new opportunity and say, okay, let's not depend on the systems we've used before. Let's search what is the most up-to-date business or software or way of doing things, because things in technology are accelerating in how much they can change. Sometimes certain softwares have changed. Sometimes the pricing has a pricing advantage. Sometimes they have, depending on the region, certain softwares have more power or are more capable in certain regions. than others. Sometimes there are limitations. So we look at that, and that forces us to continue learning. So at any given moment, we're testing several softwares and we enjoy it ourselves. We love technology, and we love, oh, look at this. And we continue in our own WhatsApp group between the partners. We're continuing. It's like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And we're always learning. So it's exciting, and we like this thing. We have fun doing it. And I think that's the key to it. That's how we stay up to date, because we have fun learning, we have fun executing and discovering what's new out there in the market.
That's amazing. So, Hussein, I do want to get to kind of your team and operations there. But first, you've built 22 companies in your life. What is your founding story?
I started off as a designer because I wanted to make money.
I want to go even earlier than that. Tell me what your origin story.
Origin story. So I was born and raised Damascus, Syria, and I've always been someone who's fascinated with Legos, with science. And at the time, we didn't have the internet. So I used to wait for my father to walk in with his newspaper. And on the back, while he's reading the main headlines or reading inside the paper, I would be looking at the final page, at the last page. And usually they would have the science news, and it's like a small corner. There's like 50 words about each one. And I'm fascinated with that. And I love science fiction movies. And then what ended up happening is I had to choose between either going to art school or going to engineering school. I didn't have a computer, and my only hope of seeing one in real life, at the time it was the 90s, is to go to engineering school. So I chose engineering school, but I went and worked as a designer to pay myself to go to school. By the time I graduated, I already were exceptional as a designer, like getting businesses and getting gigs. And I started my first marketing consultancy. I had no idea how to do business. I remember to do sales, because I was an engineer. I was in Syria. There wasn't, like, the internet was not available for everyone, only engineers and doctors. So I was lucky. So I downloaded my first sales book off the internet. Now, there are no, at the time in Syria or in the Arab world in general, there was no books about business in general. Most of the books were politics, poetry, literature, and I loved those. But when I wanted to learn about business and being the engineer, it's always like, what is the catalog? Everything I have to learn it. It's not like I'll go wing it. So I downloaded my first book of sales. I hope I remember what it is. I read it, and my first sale was going to the CEO of the biggest telco in Damascus and walking into the office and sitting and saying, I want to meet the CEO. I was like, who are you? And I walk in and I tell him, listen, I'm doing this contest and I want you to be the main sponsor. I had no idea what I was doing. And they said yes. And it was kind of like a Craigslist, but on that level, we were talking 1998. So I did like the Craigslist on a small level in Syria. And that was my first thing. And by 2002, I built my first tech company, which is we built online games. And none of the people in the company knew how to build games online. One of them wrote code for Flash. The other was an artist. The third liked to build website, but had no clue what to do it. This is my team. And within 3 months, we were acqui-hired by the Disney of the Middle East. So I was like, what I learned, aside from early successes, is that go after whatever you want to build and learn through the process. You can never lose as long as you're passionate about something, as long as you're passionate about learning. If you're intent to just make money, which is nothing wrong with that. At the time, I didn't imagine I will build businesses and I will make millions of dollars. I was just like, we're surviving. That's great. And I'm learning all of and I can't believe people are paying me to do stuff that I never knew how to do yesterday. And now I'm doing. So I couldn't believe that I was doing that. And that became kind of my mantra, where I have no fear of going into an area where I know nothing. And I force myself to learn, and I learn really fast. So that kind of became the secret of a lot of my successes and these things that I learned through my failures.
That's wonderful to hear, and thank you for sharing that. I think that passion for learning is so crucial to embed in our children and embed in people, because especially in this world today where everything's changing so fast and there's so much to learn, that there's always something more to learn. You got to stay curious and find what you're passionate about and go after that.
Couldn't agree more.
How big is your team? You're contracting projects for 6 to 12 months. So you've got this track record, so you can point to that and people trust that you'll deliver. I'm curious about your team and what you've built.
Thank you for the question. We have our approach to doing work is like how movies are made. So you can think of us as the directors and producers. And for every movie, we assemble the right team. So based on the vision, you notice that certain directors, they would not work always with the same actors unless the actor is diverse and enough that can work across multiple, let's say, projects. But depending on the project, for a comedy, you hire the best comedians. For drama, you hire the best drama people. And for, let's say, sci-fi, you would hire the best VFX and stuff like that. So that's our approach as well. So we have a core team. Our core team is around 14 people that have different diverse level of skills, and they come from multiple backgrounds. For example, one of my partners, she built 2 banks in the UAE, and she also had a gallery, and she consults on businesses, and she writes. So we like to work with people that have multiple talents because they can work on diverse projects that require you to wear multiple hats at the same time instead of everything be a specialist. So we're actually a group of generalists that have specific knowledge at certain areas and deep knowledge in certain areas and general knowledge in others. So we make very good team together, and everyone on the team, we've worked together. I mean, the least person on the team that I know is around 12 years. We have a very long history of working together. That gives us the comfort to speak with each other. People can't believe how we talk with each other because we're very comfortable in challenging ideas, in disagreeing in front of people and not having that impact the relationship, because we know that we're aligned on the goal and the objective. And we don't take anything that we don't have a deep passion for. We have to like the people we work with. We have to align with the vision, and we want to work on projects that leave the world a better place than we found it. So we don't just work with any client, even if they can pay us. We want to work on something that we feel proud, because it's a ton of work. We work sometimes anywhere between 12 to 16 hours a day. Some projects require that, especially when you're first launching something. In order to do that, and especially time zones and stuff like that, you have to be passionate about the thing, or else you're not going to find the energy. So that's the kind of team. And we're like all friends. We love hanging out with each other. We enjoy each other's companies, not just business. So that's kind of the legacy and why I love doing what I do.
You're in Vancouver? You're in Canada?
Yes, Vancouver, Canada. And we operate across Dubai, New York, and Egypt now.
In that you have main clients there?
We have clients and we have team members as well.
Wow. So it's you're meeting in person in Vancouver, but you also it's remote, it's hybrid. Yeah.
I just came back actually from 20 days spending in Egypt and a couple of weeks in Dubai. So it also gives me an opportunity. I mean, it was my first visit to Egypt, which I love, and I was blown away and fascinated. And there is so much opportunity there and so many great people and great companies to work with.
That's really cool. Yeah. Egypt, I have heard good things and I've wanted to go there.
Especially right now, they're doing like quite a renaissance there and like evolving a lot of stuff, especially the areas where, I mean, they just going to open the Grand Museum, which is one of the largest museums in the world, if not the largest. And it's mind blowing. I went there and I'm still recovering from how amazing it is.
Let's switch into AI more. And a lot of our listeners are business owners, entrepreneurs in their own right. With all this AI change that's happening, how would you, like a general prioritization of what they should be thinking about with all this change, technological change that's happening?
If anything, I've been through, I think so far, 4 or 5 massive technological shifts, from the internet to social media to the rise of the content marketing, kind of the social community, AI, blockchain, and I've been involved in many of them. The one thing I think that business owners need to see beyond the hype. Nothing's going to change as much as people like say they can change, especially if they're the ones. I mean, if somebody is the head of OpenAI and telling you AI is going to change the world, it's like they're the ones who are selling you. It's like me selling you on whatever phones, and I say the phones are the greatest thing that happened in the world. Obviously, it's my product. I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying it's not in the same way that they're saying it. So what I would say is always look at the core of what your business delivers. If there's anything that that was the reason why I was successful, and when I ignored it, the reason why I failed is because I kind of kept an eye on what's the real value that's being delivered to the customer. The customer at the end of the day doesn't pay for hype, doesn't pay for branding slogans. They pay for promise delivered and value received. So the key thing is understand what is the value that you're delivering. And any kind of technological shift, pick the technologies that help you deliver that value faster, better, at a more affordable, or let's say even at less cost for you, so that you can make more money doing that. So evaluate the technology, not based on the technology. A lot of people say, AI is awesome, so I want to find a way for AI to help my business. No, that's a wrong way of doing things. You should look, here's my business, here's the value. Where can AI help my business and where it won't? Instead of finding a way, because then you're stuck with the technology. And like, as I say, you're a product looking for a problem to solve instead of actually technology looking for a problem to solve. For example, there's no need to upgrade your computer if your computer is doing its job. Like a computer for accounting doesn't need to be the most latest computer, but a computer for design, for example, needs to be powerful. So in that kind of sense, always look for your business first and where's the bottlenecks. That's the key thing. One of probably the biggest learnings I've had is look at the bottlenecks. Where's your business has the biggest bottleneck that is preventing it from thriving? And usually there's this wonderful book called The Goal. And usually if you look, there's always one thing that now is, if you solve that, there are always multiple bottlenecks, but there's one that has the priority. And look, can technology help you do that? Then yes, employ technology. If technology is not the case, postpone it. As a business, if you're delivering value, you can catch up. I mean, a lot of people, when first AI came, it was like, we have to implement AI, and they rushed. And if you look at AI where it was 2 years and where it is right now, it's cheaper and far more effective than trying to work with it. So for me, it's different because technology, we have to learn new technologies so that we can find out if it helps our customers. But for businesses, you don't have to learn every new technology. What I would suggest is, I call it like the playful attitude. Play with technology. Take always 10, 20% of your time to play with new things. For example, that's how I upgraded our website. We used to be on WordPress. I hate WordPress right now, even though it's a great kind of company. But I played around with like, can I use a different software to do my website? And instead of saying, I need to change my website and make it a project, and now I'm stuck delivering on that project, what I did is like, let me play around with Webflow at the time. And I tried other softwares like Squarespace. I played around, like, let me see if I can build a simple website in like a day or a couple of hours. And I saw how easy they are. And that led me to deciding, like, oh, Webflow looks like a great tool, which I love, by the way. I was like, let me use it. Then I took on the project to do our website instead of taking it on as a project. And now I'm stuck doing it, because we take on so much as a business. And we need to understand, does it help or not? So I would say always have that playful attitude, play with technology, take 10 to 15% of your time and play and learn. AI, great. There's a new technology, great. Anybody tells you about new technology, open it up, play around with it and see where that takes you. And if there is something you notice, hey, I'll try this, I'll try that. Test with new project and see if it works for you, not if it works for your neighbor. Not if it works for your uncle, not if it works for one of your team members. If it works for you and if it's helping you, then you can start expanding on how you do it. And I think the biggest thing is always continue learning. The more you learn, the more powerful you are as a business owner. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs that I've met, and I've asked them about books that are essential for business acumen, for understanding the world, and they don't read. I was like, business is not about just practice. You need to, kind of like saying, a football player only learns football by playing football. No, playing football is nice to kind of like the game, but they do a lot of exercise outside. They take care of themselves outside. They take breaks. They develop their power in order to bring it to the game.
And they
study. 100%, 100%. For your business to thrive, you need to do things outside of your business that you can bring back to your business. You need to develop yourself so that you can bring yourself as a better entrepreneur to your business for your business to grow and thrive.
Definitely. What are the basic business books that you recommend every business leader read?
That's a great question. The first one, I would say Lean Startup and the Great by Choice. What those give you is a way to think about business. So some of the biggest things that I've seen, a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners, they don't have a strategic outlook. So you need to always learning frameworks. The Business Model Generation is a brilliant book that actually gives you tools that you can apply immediately to your business. I would recommend any book by Jim Collins, the thinking and the analysis, because he's bring data, he brings great stories, he's a brilliant writer, and the frameworks that he teaches you are very powerful. I think from books to self-develop, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a brilliant book. Never Split the Difference is a book about negotiation, is also a great book that I've read recently. Sometimes I do things like right now, I show my partner going through the great courses. And what is the course I'm going through? It's sometimes you have to go outside of that, which is Einstein relativity.
Oh,
and
wow.
quantum revolution. But I have a reason for that. What it does, it actually opens your mind to different things. So for example, we don't know how you might say, hey, this is science, not going to impact us, but quantum computing is coming. You know, a blockchain was something that we didn't have before. AI was science fiction 10 years ago for anyone. So I think sometimes taking like 10 to 20% to go outside the beaten path and to kind of read some stuff outside of that, it opens your mind in different ways. So I don't know, maybe I'm too geeky for people.
No, that's a great list. So it sounds like you're super determined and you're doing tons of stuff. And I wonder your time management. Do you have a family?
Yes, I'm married and I have 2 kids.
How old are your kids?
19 and 16 now.
Oh, wow. You're almost out of the nest, the little one. Wow.
Well, I think Alex Hermosi said it best. Your partner has to align with your goals. So I'm lucky to have a great partner. She's also my partner in business as well. And she's extremely smart. She's the smart part of this relationship. So I would say the smartest decision it was to marry her and she was my first investor in my earliest businesses. So I think that definitely helps, but also there's always communication and we resolve misunderstanding. And I think developing oneself, the other day we were talking about why do we work so well together? And yes, we have our differences all the time. Working together is very stressful, but we're able to resolve those differences is because we always continue to work on ourselves. We never stop learning and developing ourselves as people, and we bring that to our kids and our relationships. So I think that's very important. And I think from a time management perspective, I always plan 12 weeks in advance as much as possible. We have a clear objective and we're not afraid to continue to change direction when things change. I think of it like driving a car to a destination. You need to know where you're going. You need to decide on a road, but as you're driving, if things change, you can actually change along with what things are happening, but you never lose sight of the objective that you're going for. And if you have really good partners along the way, like the people that are in the car, if you kind of veer off the beaten path or you kind of take a wrong, let's say, turn, they will guide you, they would help you. So I think picking the right people, making sure that you're clear on the objective, making sure that you're constantly your eyes on the road and you're kind of changing with the changing conditions. This is the best thing that I've seen so far. I've tried these things where you kind of plan every day in advance, and maybe it works for some people. I don't want to proclaim that my way is the best way, but it works for me. And that's the other thing is that I keep on learning and I apply what works for me. And the things that don't work for me, I let it go. I try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I try harder. But if it doesn't, again, if it's not achieving a result, it's not that it changes the habit. I've changed habits so many times, but if it's not achieving the goal that I want, or it's not getting me to my objective, I drop it and I look for something else. So there are brilliant people around the world that come up with all kind of ideas. I keep on trying to learn. The last thing I would say is try to adopt frameworks rather than processes. Processes are like 1, 2, 3, 4, but a framework is more like a way of thinking. And that's what helped me the most. A way of thinking always allows me more freedom to adapt and change, as in a process is like 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you miss step number 3 is like now everything's screwed and you feel bad about it.
Hearing about your approach to the world and this continual learning, this drive for continually learning, and that you've instilled it onto your children. And I know so many people, like the world is just filled with information and everybody now has access to all the world's information, and they've got this oracle that they can talk to and learn from. And you think that the boats are rising in intelligence sense where everyone's just getting smarter and smarter. But at the same time, AI is going to be changing and disrupting tons of aspects of our society. And we're already seeing this in the freelancing work where things that were done by freelancers, copywriting, editing, designing, all of that stuff is vastly changed in the 4 years I've been in podcasting and social media editing. It's incredible how many tools have come out and how easy it is to make content now. And that's just one aspect of how people are able to do more, but at the same time, companies don't need more people to do the same amount of things. And so what are your thoughts about where society is headed with all this AI change?
I think AI is obviously different than, let's say, what computers brought us, but not so much. The framework is still the same, which is, yes, some people who, let's say, used to use some copywriters will use AI to get some copywriting. But what ended up happening is the same thing that people used to do, which is, go online and steal some copywriting or some copy and just implement it. But right now, AI makes it easier where you ask it and it gives you, and maybe it's better than stealing or a little bit better. But the problem is, since everybody has access to it, that kind of sets a new level, which is now you're expected to have, let's say, better. Just like when Canva came in and gave us the ability to do designs, easily, and everybody becomes a designer, let's say. They don't have to learn Photoshop and Illustrator and stuff like that. But what ends up happening is now the bar is set higher. So what it means is that it's not that the copywriters will not find work. It's the bad copywriters will not find work. Great copywriters and great designers will find even more work because they are more in demand, because people need something more to stand out rather than before. Because everybody's good. When everybody before was bad, a little bit good stuff, anything designed is better than, let's say, the BS that you see online. But now, since everything is already nice looking, you need something better. And that's why we see the stuff that go viral has nothing to do with, your capabilities of design. It has everything to do with authenticity, with a new different idea. And when everybody's making those faceless YouTube channels or the thing that's like, oh, you'll make thousands of dollars. The problem is the more saturated something is, the more you look for something different. And people, that's how we are. We look for something different because the thing that is we get used to becomes boring. So what ends up happening is, on the contrary, I would suggest that utilize what's there. For example, I hate AI art, but I use AI art tools for brainstorming. So I go in and I brainstorm. I would not use them, let's say, for designs because they stole from artists. But for me, unfortunately, because right now Google and Facebook took those decisions to use AI and to implement instead of preventing it, internet is filled with this thing. And it's easier to go to this, let's say, software and say, what do you think ideas about this? Or ideas, I want to imagine something. But at the end of the day, it's the design that gives me. And it's just like sometimes talking, I don't know if you've done this before, brainstorming is about having 1,000 shitty ideas to get the good idea. So in fact, AI throws back to you 1,000 shitty ideas very fast. So I look at color combinations and stuff like that, but they all look bad, honestly. Like it's not something you can use. And because everybody's using AI, you kind of like, you hate the look. So what that drives me to go in a different direction. So it's not what it is, it's how you use it, in my opinion. So I would say with AI tools, you have the chance, if you are someone who loves what you do and committed to doing something at a completely different level, which is a level that is a level of passion, a level of discovery, a level that you're discovering what your limits are rather than you just want to do work and get paid for it, which is nothing wrong with that, but that will die off. And it's always been like that. When automation came, it's not like workers who love working at an assembly line loved that job and they hated being displaced and not having work, which is awful, obviously. And we need to find a way systemically to support that. But nobody who worked at an assembly line said, I love that job. We love to create. We love to do something that is fun, to read, to engage with family and stuff like that. So use those tools to upgrade yourself, to look for yourself at a different level. The content revolution gave us people who love to do YouTube videos and love to talk about their areas of interest. And that created communities that people connect with. And that is what it's all about at the end of the day, is connecting with people, delivering something that we love and that brings out the passion in us, that shows our humanity. And all AI is another tool that helps us get rid of the mundane and look for areas where we can even shine more, where we can express more of our humanity and individuality. I'm never going to, let's say, enjoy AI art. I'm going to enjoy the art, not because it's beautiful or is it better. I don't care about the technical skills. Picasso is not because it's technically, his work is not about technique as much as his story. Why did he create the art? That engagement, that connection. And a machine, why would I connect with a machine? The machine don't think. They don't have a view of the world or a worldview. So unless they become sentient one day, which is, let's see, in another 1,000 years.
Incredibly inspiring what you just said. And I just a little tangent on, AI models, AI avatars that are like trying to start social media accounts and talk to you. Like, I just don't think those are long lasting and have long tail at all because there's nothing authentic about them. There's not a reason for people to want to tune in every time and get their news from some AI avatar or something. You sound like you have a lot of predictions, and I would love to hear some of your predictions for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's going to happen is you can look at any stage in history and you can say, oh, this is the most important time we've been. But let's consider that this is the world that we live in has so many challenges. and has so many opportunities as well. I mean, I'm lucky to be living in Vancouver, not in a place where there's war, like Gaza, for example, where people are dying and a lot of atrocities are happening. So we have a lot of work to do as human beings to grow, to work well together, to solve these challenges. There is still much work to be done. And we can't just rely on, well, how much I'm being paid for. A lot of times, some of the best things that we do and some of the biggest innovations that we have is because of pursuing a passion. And maybe a lot of people say, well, don't pursue a passion. You can't make money. Most of the time, when you pursue a passion at the very beginning, you can't make money doing that. And I don't know where you are. I don't know, let's say, what conditions you're in and what you need to do to make money. I've been in positions where, of course, I didn't have to pursue my passion. But as long as you carve part of your life to pursue something that matters to you, I think that part of humanity is what's going to grow. You're going to see more people as technology evolves. And as technology takes more of our mundane jobs, we're going to see humanity searching to become more human. We're going to engage in questions. What does it mean to be human? What do I want to do with my life? What causes do I want to dedicate myself to? What do I want to create? Not what job do I? And I think that's the major shift. Instead of like, what do I want to do? What do I want to become when I'm older? As opposed to what role do I want to play in life and what impact do I want to create? And right now we are probably at one of the greatest periods of time compared to history, to being able for one person who's nameless, faceless, whatever, can make an impact that is at the level of a US president, let's say, which is a completely different story we don't want to get into. I mean, if anything, the world is flipped upside down, that it's demanding of us for everyone to rise and make an impact in the world. You can make that impact by being creative. You can make that impact by pursuing a cause and dedicating yourself to a cause that matters to you, by helping others. So I think what's going to happen is technology is going to continue to explode, especially with the AI tools, with quantum computing coming in. Every technology will face challenges and it will overcome that challenges. But at the end of the day, the question of technology and the reason why technology evolves, no technology evolves on its own just because it's cool. It evolves because of the value it adds to people's lives. And any technology that doesn't add to people's lives is going to die. It's as simple as that, because nobody's going to develop something that nobody's going to pay them for. So I think we're going to have a better understanding of what value is, and people are going to become more educated, more aware. And these things are going to be decentralized, not in the way that blockchain decentralized things, but right now, school is not going to become the same way that school was, where you go to learn. School is where you go to connect. Work is where you go to build something of value. But learning, developing self, exploring your passions, all of that is at your fingertips. At a phone, you can do that. And it's becoming cheaper than ever. And I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see the rise of communities and the rise of people using technology to create those, let's say, communities of interest across the world. And that's what technology is going to enable. And we're going to see more people engaged into, let's say, advanced technology as it becomes, let's say, as easy as this phone.
I love it, Hussein. You've managed to give me goosebumps at the end here. I mean, that's what we're trying to build here with Imagine AI Live. We have over 14,000 subscribers on our newsletter now, which is like a new venture. We finally got our newsletter.
I love the name, by the way. Imagine.
Yeah, Imagine AI. Imagine what it can do for you and where it's going to take us. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about you or what you're working on, how we can connect with you?
Thank you. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to stay connected with people. You can look at our company at nextdecentrum.com or go to my website, husseinhallak.com, which needs an upgrade. I'm releasing a book in another couple of months, hopefully, called The Dark Art of Life Mastery. So if you're interested in a copy, it has art in it. It has a little bit of my story and some of the things that I've learned along the way, hoping to help people as much as possible. So yeah, any kind of connection like that, I would love to. And if there is a recommendation of books, send it my way. And if there is something you want to talk about, I love conversations with people and connecting with people. So please reach out. And thank you for having me, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's clear, Hussein. This has been a very enjoyable conversation. We've learned a lot, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.